Welcome back, everybody, to Friend or Foe Esports. We are in game number 2 of our playoff series against YUBI and Blue Bayou Zoo. Blue Bayou Zoo taking game number 1 off of them in a banger game. So much action, so many steals too. Hacker popping off there for BBZ Dax. Dax really showing up on this one. Blue Bayou Zoo came to play, and they're looking to end this game off in our best of 3 series. We got Jana picked out. We got Silas Seraphine for Team Yubi, Galio, Malphite, Nocturne, same bands as before for Blue Bayou Zoo. My name is Whirler, and casting alongside me once again, we have found, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to bring you game number 2 of the playoff series against our Seed 1, Universal Basic Income, and our Seed 4, Blue Bayou Zoo.
Absolutely, it's great to be back, especially with a game 2 after the game 1 was so good and so well played. And with the bans coming out so fast, you have the Nocturne, Malphite, and the Galio taken away. So BBZ has opted to go for the same bans that were already selected. And with Gnar and Ezreal already coming out, it seems like they're swapping a little bit of where they wanted their advantages to be, with now YUBI getting the best AD carry available.
They are locking in that Ezreal pretty quickly. There is a lot of controversy around that champion right now, and honestly, I feel like it was played very well by Champion Red last game. Gnar being picked out, we're going to see what their second pick is going to be, and we're going to see how spicy it can get in here. I don't know. I'm looking for a bloodbath here from BBZ. As they lock in the Lulu, that's actually a very good support to lock in, because it allows so many AD carries that are currently just sort of weaker in the meta to become very strong in a 2v2 sense. It is going to be Wukong. However, again, is Freelancer going to get his Wukong once again? Is he running it back? We'll see in about 8 seconds. As they're going to be locking that one in. And it looks like it is going to be the Wukong so far. So it's, aside from the Ezreal, they're looking to play around the same sort of concept, it looks like. What do you think, Found?
Yeah, they're already going for a survivable AD carry, and Wukong and Leona now probably going to be selected. That's going to be that's a lot of dive, a lot of CC, and Ezreal can really almost always follow up at least a little bit of damage with the Q and the Arcane Shift forward. That's going to get that extra follow up, and I think this is a really good. It's a really good change for YUBI to pick a slightly easier to execute composition already from what they've already had.
We're going to be getting the Lulu Kog'Maw this game, a classic synergy, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm actually very excited to see this one, especially against a Leona. A lot of tank shred on this Kog'Maw, and honestly, I feel like if YUBI draft a tanky comp here, if Kog'Maw is able to play around with this very well, I feel like if Kog'Maw plays this respectively for there's a lot of CC, there could be a lot of shred coming out from that champion, and that was a very quick ban phase. Hecarim Jarvan taken out for BBZ, and Victor and Vladimir for Universal Basic Income. First pick onto the side of Blue Bayou Zoo in the second phase of picks. Let's see what they can do with this one, as it looks like they're hovering Xin Zhao, and it's actually going to be logged in. Dax bringing out these call-out picks. Honestly, very interesting to me, and it's going to be a hover as Lysandra for Universal Basic Income, putting Civilock on another lockdown champion. We're noticing a trend here with the with the previous pick being Malzahar. Now hovering Lysandra. We'll see if it's actually true or if he switches it up back to the Malzahar, which is open, by the way. It does look like they are going to lock in the Lysandra though, and let's see what their jungler is going to be for Universal Basic Income.
Yeah, absolutely. And based on what they've selected so far, it is important to remember now that the Skarner has come through. Kog'Maw is another AD carry that can go more so into this tankier route. He has a no mythic tank build that is available right now, where you just go with Wit's End into Hurricane and basically frontline in the middle of a fight, and that would get a lot of value because Skarner, at least Skarner in competitive play, is mostly magic damage. People don't tend to max the E versus the sustain and the multiple stuns. Lysandra not bursting out the Kog'Maw is really big to his composition, and with Veigar coming through, that is really big because you have multiple champions who are weak to that cage. Lysandra being one of them. If you just cage where the claw is, it'll stun her every time, and if she gets one shot, that's a lot of value instantly gone. So I really like what BBZ has taken, and they have a lot of tools to counteract the engage from YUBI, who are just going to have to run at them to win these team fights.
Absolutely, and YUBI is actually calling out Blue Bayou Zoo once again for in the previous game, despite all the CC that was on the table, not one QSS was built by BBZ. And I'm actually very excited to see this call out right here because we have Leona, Lissandra, and Skarner. They are taking this call out and they are running with it. So many ultimates, so much CC. They're actually going to see if YUBI can pretty much do the same sort of comp, just a little bit differently. And they have a pretty decent comp, I gotta say. They got a really good mix of damage and tankiness, especially with Ezreal. And on the side of Blue Bayou Zoo, I'm actually very excited to see how Xin Zhao, Gnar, and Veigar can play around a Lulu Kog'Maw, because Lulu Kog'Maw by itself is so strong. But I honestly, looking at the draft, I want to give this one to YUBI. What do you think, Found? Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it to Blue Bayou, and with the game about to start and we're about to get into it, we're going to find out right away with Game 2 of YUBI versus Blue Bayou, and I'm so excited. Both team comps are very dynamic, and look at already, people were complaining about the lack of QSS, and now Lights and both Red have taken the cleanse, so they have the bummy version in that summoner spell choice in there, so that is already a small win.
So we've assessed some of the smaller CCs, but we have yet to assess we have yet to assess the depression that they call it. So there is going to have to be QSS tax still this game. So I'm not too sure exactly how the cleanse will be worth here, but it is definitely good for the early game. It's not going to really answer anything Skarner has to say, but as for Lissandra and Leona,
the Glacial Prison and the Solar Flare are really big long range CCs, so both these champions are vulnerable to it. And honestly, I think the plan for YUBI is to just run at them with hit one of those CCs and then have Skarner pick them up afterwards. So that if that's going to be the avenue, then I like taking the cleanse. You don't really need heal or teleport in these matchups anyway. So, and there, please BBZ. I hope you guys have learned your lesson. Just because you have cleanse doesn't mean you're safe. You still need to get that QSS for Skarner, especially the Kog'Maw, who's going to be the main target. So you're not out of the woods yet, but they have taken the first step to at least prevent the Lissandra and the Leona from killing them from CC.
yes, indeed, and the game has indeed started. Xin Zhao already clearing out 2 camps. Skarner clearing out about 3, gonna head over to his bot side. We have opposite side starts for the jungle, so that's gonna split up the map a little bit. Root landed onto Champion Red. Champion Red gonna pop the cleanse late. It's actually gonna waste it, and he's gonna get out alive though, but he's gonna lose half his health. Jeff God Gamer eating forward, getting a lot of damage onto them. It's actually gonna be enough to sort of decipher a lead in this beginning game.
The cleanse is too early, but the wave position is really good for the side of BBZ. That's going to be on their side of the map for a long time, and that is a lot of concern. You see that Red has already chosen to level that E. A lot of Kog'Maw players nowadays don't even level it until like level 13 or 14 after that point because it's not very useful. But he is going to go for that slow. He wants to have the field just in case a gank is available, and you see there's already a Zen waiting in that top side for this Wukong.
Absolutely. Jeff God Gamer really feeling himself in this lane, spamming the taunt over and over and over. You love to see it if you're a fan of YUBI in this game. Oh, it is going to be the engagement of the top lane. Freelancer's going to have to flash out of this one. Xin Zhao, BBZ Dax running it back, and he's actually Freelancer is actually going to get out alive this time around. But yes, once again, Jeff God Gamer's really feeling himself on this one, really confident in himself on the Ezreal. Utility Monster is waiting in the wings in the bot lane, is going to be able to start off a little bit in this bot lane, but good lord, that joke spam.
Yeah, is he spamming it still, or is that just an audio bug from the
client?
client?
No, it's not an audio bug at all. He has that on a
actually
keybind.
Spamming it. Okay.
He has that on a keybind for sure. But
okay,
you know what? That's how you know Jeff God Gamer is confident in his Ezreal. And you know what? I'm here for it. Civlox is going to get himself out of that gank. Dax coming up with the pressure, making sure that Civlox is not able to get that for free. Jeff God Gamer still screaming down here. He has not stopped. And honestly, I feel like it's going to get to them at this point. Red and Songo.
It's getting to me. I just want it to stop right now. So I guess I feel like he must have attached it to something that he's using constantly. Like it would be hilarious if he attached it to his right click. So every time he clicks a minion, it hits the taunt. That'd be ridiculous. But let's hope that he did not do that, and he's just trying to have a little fun in the early stages of this game. Oh my God, it's still going.
We're gonna be theory crafting what Jeff God Gamer is doing with his keybinds. Meanwhile, we're getting a good old startup in both these lanes. Solo lanes actually looking pretty even in CS. However, in the top lane, despite getting the HP advantage, Nier is falling behind in CS by 10. It's pretty big here in the early game, just even getting early pressure too. Wukong's actually playing this lane really well, despite last game. Does get the jump. Nier gets the bounce off of the clone. Freelancer's still going to be able to make it out. He might have to take the recall on this one. This is going to be Nar's way back into the game. Very well played for him. He's got a big wave to catch up on, but a TP from Freelancer isn't going to give him too much time to do that. Jeff God Gamer still doing Jeff God Gamer things in the bot lane.
And here comes the gank, and the stun is going to land, and Cleanse, it hasn't come through, but he's just going to walk it out, most likely.
Flash from Utility Monster is going to force the Cleanse flash from Veigar. That's actually a pretty worth trade, as going to be both summoners. Dax coming in with the help for Lights is going to be able to push this one in for him. And, Zenith Blade going a little wide on that one. Champion Red getting some damage on Jeff God Gamer, and it's now the blue side bot lane that has to back out of that one and an unfavorable trade. Nier is catching up in CS pretty well. Still got much of a wave to catch up on, too. Civillock's back up in the lane. Hasn't backed off quite yet. Not really in danger either. Same with Lights, and they're actually going to be pretty even up here, too. Even in CS, dead by 51.
Yeah, and I think Leona's thanking her lucky stars that E did not land, because she's right next to the tower with Exhaust and Polymorph available, that she could have easily gotten beaten down by that Kog'Maw. So that is one of those situations. And here comes a gank finding Dax, just who's going to be walking it out with the thumbs up. These players are on point with their emotes use. You gotta give them that.
Absolutely. Freelancer coming up with the roam from top lane to pressure out Dax a little bit, forcing him to recall there. Not too much gained from it. Is going to get that roam off from being pushed up from Nier. Very good on him. Doesn't want to stay pushed up. Doesn't want to put himself vulnerable. Instead chooses to put his pressure on the map. And we'd love to see it if you are a YUBI fan. They are making use of their resources. Lights, hitting the recall, getting a page for his book. Going to give him a lot of mana in this. Songo and Red walking up with their first backs. Tier 2 boots completed for Champion Red, Sheen, and half of a tier completed for Ezreal.
Yeah, and you see that Dax is going to be falling progressively behind. Xin Zhao is a jungle that needs to get those kills and those advantages. He's not going to farm as fast as the Skarner. Skarner already has that level 6 available, so it's going to be up to Dax to find some type of avenue to this game, or else he's just going to get progressively behind this Leona. And look at these trades. This is Ezreal being extremely sad about his life.
Oh, good stun onto the Kog'Maw, forcing the cleanse once again, having to flash out. Red taken very low, but that ignite is going to take him down. That's first blood for Leona. Brian Sang and Jeff God Gamer are now in a problem here. We got Dax going to get stunned up, but the dash range does land with the W from Xin Zhao. Jeff God Gamer taken very low, but good peel from Leona is going to keep him alive. Is he going to go down? But he is not. Health potion ticking. And it is not enough to take him down. Winions did not take this one. Lights off to the side looking to pick him up, but isn't going to be enough. They're going to get alive on this one with a free kill from the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, and that is honestly, I have to say that's a mistake out of Sungo. When you walk up into that point, point of the map, and actually here's going to be a fight. I'll get back to my point after this one.
Absolutely. Freeze onto, it's going to be Dax actually going down here. Flashing over the Veigar wall, too. Is going to go down to Lights, though. Lights going to get into a sticky situation, but he has Songo here to help him with that. Skarner's going to have to run right away, and that's going to be a trade for trade. BBZ are actually making this one, and that's actually going to be stacks on stacks for Veigar, getting himself into this game. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in total for YUBI.
Yep, and that is so basically what I was just saying. After they fight, continue to fight anyway, and Freelancer could just be dead since he doesn't have any mana left.
No, he does not. Nier is not, or rather, Freelancer is not respecting this at all. Flash from Nier is actually going to secure that kill, and it's going to even it up around and about. With the CS lead in the top lane, I feel like Nar will take that kill to help catch him up a little bit. Very well played from Nier, able to get himself into this game. And more fighting. Brian Sang getting polymorphed and taking pretty much almost a half health from Songo and Red. But anyway, continue on, Found.
Okay, so the reason why that was a mistake out of the Lulu and not the Kog'Maw is because after the abilities have already landed, Lulu has her exhaust available. So the only way Kog'Maw dies there is if you allow the EQ to land onto him. And that is one of those situations where the support needs to walk up, he needs to be body blocking those abilities. Ezreal is all skill shots, so if Lulu just walks in front of the Kog'Maw, they actually probably could just turn it after the E forward comes in. So that is something that Sango could have looked to do, and
Oh
now they're just
my
walking up.
god. That is an amazing solar flare coming out from Leona. Is going to stun up Champion Red. Champion Red's going to go down instantly. But the wall from Veigar is going to force out another flash. Utility Monster's in a problem here. Civlock's healing himself a little bit up from that ultimate. Stun up onto the from the Zinzao is going to be enough to trade a kill, but he is going to go down himself. Gnar TPing down is going to go down. He actually walked down. He didn't TP down at all. Blue team's going to get this dragon, but they are going to lose out a little bit on this. It is 2v2 right now, but Skarner is taken low. Lights is going to get another kill for himself. Jeff God Gamer is actually going to be slowed down on this one. Songo is out of mana, and Lights is going to be taking this fight. It's going to be 3 for 2 and a dragon for Yubi, but I feel like if you're BBZ, you went out on that a little hard. Freelancer up in the top lane, in the island, getting a little bit of plating for himself, but Nier's going to TP up, and that's going to be the end of that.
Absolutely, that is not what you want to see. Even though Yubi did get the kill advantage into that fight and did secure the dragon, all those kills went onto Veigar. So now you're in a position where if Lissandra walks up and gets hit by QR, she can just get one shot, 100-0. So that's something to be concerned about. Everfrost is already going to be completed. So much CC from this Veigar, and that Veigar is just more appeal for the Kog'Maw. So if the event, once the situation comes where BBZ has those advantages into this AD carry role, where he has gotten some items, he's managed to stay safe for quite a bit of time. Like the position, BBZ has to be happy at where they're at in the game, especially how the early game went.
Definitely so. As we're clearing up vision on both sides, it's going to be Zinzao and Leona clearing both tank wards from their respective sides. But the Rift Herald is actually going to be started by Skarner here. They're getting on this objective game right, and they are 1,000 gold ahead. Despite BBZ's lead in the last game, Yubi's actually taking the lead in this one. Dude, I would say just due to CS. But it's actually kind of even in the mid lane and actually ahead for BBZ in the bot lane. But jungle and top lane alone, oh my god. Good cleanse coming out from Champion Red. Champion Red's going to get out of this one. But Lissandra, is going to get stun locked over here. Dax is actually taking this one into his own hands, and Lights going to take that one with the ultimate. Skarner going to pull him into tower, but Lights is actually going to be able to get out of this one. He has the flash, and he has the gate. He's going to get out alive. Utility Monster taken very low, but he's going to be alive. In the top lane, there's going to be a little bit of a trade again. I don't think this one's going to go anywhere, but Nier, it does have the form pretty soon. One more auto, and that's going to be it. Is he going to be jumping into this tower? Cyclone is available. Cyclone is pop. It isn't going to be enough to quite take him, but a very, very well-played clone is going to get Wukong out of there alive. Very, very well played. And BBZ taking a nice trade for himself, feeding the Veigar even more. That's very good for Blue Bayou Zoo, getting their win condition even closer to where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is a lot of AP just secured from the Veigar. He's been landing Q after Q after Q. I would love to see his primordial passive counter. Hopefully, if we get a chance to click on him and see how much AP he's managed to already accrue, but he is going to be a massive threat in this team fight. And if you're put in a situation where you have to kill a Veigar and the Kog'Maw, you're kind of struggling to see where you're going to put all your resources, because if you notice how Yubi's comp is kind of is they don't have a lot of multi-target burst. It's more of a one-shot cannon with how Lissandra's burst tends to go out. So this is definitely a solid position for both teams, but I would have to give the advantage to BBZ of where they're at the moment.
Absolutely. Veigar leading the gold pretty high, actually. It's keeping them in the game. Still 1,000 gold ahead. Team Yubi is keeping up the lead so far. Still have the Rift Herald 2 at their disposal. Turret plating is going to fall, so I don't think this Rift Herald is going to do too much in terms of gold, but maybe they can break open a lane and get some priority somewhere. Dax walking up a little bit, getting some vision. Good solar flare coming out. Is going to force the flash out of Champion Red over there, as we just saw. Champion Red now has no flash. Good Zenith Blade from Leona is going to stun up cross Songo. Songo is going to have to bust the ulti in order to stay alive here, and he's going to bust out the flash too. There got no flashes on either side of, or on both members of Blue Bayou Zoo's bot lane. Jeff God Gamer and Brian Sang really taking this bot lane by storm against all odds. But we got two scaling AD carries here. It can go either way still.
Yeah, absolutely. But you got to give credit to Champion Red for keeping up his CS. He's still on a pretty decent clip at the moment. But this is actually a point in the game where both bot lanes can easily 2v2 kill each other if Leona flubs her engage and manages to go onto anyone that's not the Kog'Maw. But honestly, that was a position where if the Kog'Maw just allows himself to be hit by the Solar player, more than
Ooh.
likely they can win the fight after that. But it looks like they were going more so in a conservative route. They're not trying to give over any more 2v2s. They're not going to really. This is playoffs. Playing on the edge in that manner is probably not necessary for the win conditions of their composition. So
Mhm.
this next dragon fight, let's see if they're even going to go to look and fight for it.
Oh my god, good solar flare coming out from Leona is going to stun lock the Champion Red. Champion Red's not going to be able to do anything in this fight, and a double kill for Lissandra is going to determine that. And alternatively, Utility Monster has popped the Rift Herald. It's going to be Gnar caught out as well. So much CC, not enough damage. They're going to get a free dragon off of that. Yes, they wasted the Rift Herald, but they got three and an ocean drake for them, or cloud drake rather, and it is going to be the same dragons once again. It's going to be a ocean into cloud into infernal soul. We have a run back, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a 3,000 gold lead for Team Yumi, and that is going to be very, very, very detrimental. Good suppress coming out from the utility monster is going to get the shutdown from the Veigar. Isn't going to be enough to get any return kills whatsoever, but they're going to run out on that one, take their trade there. Brian Sang and Jeff God Gamer going to take the bot lane tier 1 and increase this to a 4,000 gold lead. Brian Sang isn't quite in range for the Zenith Blade quite yet. There it is. Good cleanse out from Champion Red is going to break the distance a little bit, and a polymorph, or not a polymorph, but a wild growth from Lulu is going to keep Red alive. And what's it called? Ezreal ult to take him out on this one. Kog'Maw's gonna live to see another day, surprisingly enough. He has completed the Wit's End, so that's a very keen part of the build for Blue Bayou Zoo's carry.
He has been just eating these Leona ultimates, and this multiple miscues with how BBZ wants to set up for these dragons. That's the second time in a row where you have two people walking into the corridor by themselves. Lulu alt was just using the bot lane fight. Like it's okay to give up objectives, especially when you don't have the tools to fight them, and you're going to be in a disadvantageous position. So that's something that's going to need to be cleaned up. And you see, YUBI has opened up a massive gold lead, which is unfortunately congested mainly on Skarner and the Lissandra. But at this point, you got to be happy if you're YUBI that getting all these kills and all this extra gold onto champions that are going to be your main threats until this Ezreal picks up a little bit more gold.
Second Rift Herald coming up in just under a minute. It looks like Xin Zhao's up in the top lane to take priority over this one, but it seems like Yumi has a different plan on their hands. They are grouped up a little bit towards the bottom side of the map. No TP from Wukong for a little bit under a minute as well. It looks as if they are actually going to play a little bit of a neutral as they're trying to open up the mid portion of the map. Tower taken very low, and Jeff God Gamer with the Sheen and the W is going to be able to take this one down uncontested. Jackson Near off to the side. It looks like fight may break out, but I don't think it's favorable for Blue Bayou Zoo in this regard at the current moment. They're going to have to wait this one out, turtle a little bit, and look to scale with the champions that they've picked. And it is going to be Rift Herald started from Utility Monster. They have shifted over to the top side of the map. Jeff God Gamer is marked by Dax. Isn't going to get jumped on though, and it's going to be five members of both sides on this Rift Herald. Rift Herald taken to about half, but a good stun onto Dax. Dax is going to be taken low. Solar Flare onto the back line. Going to be cleanse flashed from the Veigar, but he is going to be going down. It's going to be Xin Zhao following him, and Kog'Maw and Lulu stand no chance against them. Nier is now 1v4, and he's not going to be able to take Utility Monster out. That's going to be a 1-for-5 for Team Yumi. Let's break this one down, Found.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a wipe yet again, and this is the continuous issue of how BBZ has been setting up their fights. First of all, this is a second Rift Herald, so there really isn't that much reason to fight anyway. You're not going to lose that much value from just getting from that one charge, especially now that plates have dropped. But you see, Lissandra is on the side. They did just see her on the mid wave, so they do know that she's here. So she is going to get this E over the wall, and it's going to get that Ring of Frost landed onto this Veigar, who's going to take a bunch of damage. That forces out the Lulu ult. So now Veigar has flashed away and died. It hasn't gotten a chance to use that Primordial Burst on the target. Leona is still up with all her cooldowns, so she's just going to get onto Kog'Maw next, and Lulu has nothing else to provide. Plus, the Gnar was far and had to wait to get Mega Gnar to begin with. So BBZ has not managed to find that really big congested fight that they're looking for. And even though they got a kill onto Lissandra, that's just not enough when you consider how much of an advantage they had early on.
Especially since the Lysandra passive actually was able to pick up a double kill there. That was actually really fun to watch. Lysandra, despite from the grave, is going to take out Team Blue Bayou Zoo's duo in the bottom lane. Red and Songo are not able to play at the current moment. Jeff God Gamer and Brian Sang on Ezreal Leona. Going to take a lot of charge in this game, as well as the top side of the map, including mid in that regard. Lysandra and Skarner, wow. Amazing performance so far, and I have not seen one solar flare miss this entire game.
Yeah, absolutely. Champion Red has not been able to find his avenues to dodge them, and he is really set behind the curve. That Merman is just going to be picked up by Ezreal. He's going to be on a huge power spike. Now you have a 2-item Ezreal who has an item advantage over the Kog'Maw that he's going to be holding for the conceivable period of time. So is where we're hoping that they're going to need to stall out. They're going to have this game slow down. This next Inferno Drake, you can't fight for it, so most likely you shouldn't try. And just try to get some items onto this Kog'Maw where he can be a threat and punish the lack of consistent damage that can come out from Team YUBI.
First Infernal Drake of the game. Third, if you are Team YUBI, coming up in about 15 seconds, and they're grouping around for this one. Dax and Civlock stunning each other up. Good stun from Dax. Is going to get out of that one, though, pretty quickly with the Merc Treads. Is going to shut down the Lysandra, but Dax is going to be able to flash out of this one. Is going to get out alive. Good solar flare from Leona once again. Haven't seen one miss. Jeff God Gamer going to pick up that kill, and that's going to be the jungler for Blue Bayou Zoo going down. That looks to be a soul point Infernal Drake. If you're Team YUBI, they're looking to take this one to game 3. Near in the top lane is going to go down to Freelancer in the 1v1. Freelancer up there taking it by storm. Let's see how this one happened. Near's kiting him out. Isn't doing too much damage, though. The Cyclone and the Divine Sunderer damage is going to get the second knockup and flash out of the stun from Near. It's not going to be enough. Freelancer is going to gap him very hard in that 1v1. Stat check coming through.
Yeah, that's oftentimes what Wukong 1v1s look like. They basically purely a stat check on whether or not you have the extra damage to kill him, or he can just kind of zerg you down. So that was a big kill going over for the side of Freelance. That gives some pressure. Baron is going to be spawning and available. So this is all UB all the time with a huge goal advantage, 8,000 at the moment. So they are just they are just pressuring all around the map, and there's nothing that BBZ has to even look into this jungle to try to find some pressure.
Dropping the Rip Turtle in the top lane, looking to break down this tier 2 turret. They're off to the side. I think they can break this one down, and it is going to be going down. Dax is going to be suppressed. Solar Flare going to be pulled out of it, but Dax is going to be going down instantaneously. One-man ultimate is going to knock the shield off of Red. It isn't going to do too much damage in that regards. It is going to be 4v5, though, for a little bit, as Dax is off the map. And I think this is Yubi's chance to set up for a Baron play.
Absolutely. The teleport is coming through, so that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They have basically everything available, minus the solar flare that's going to be locking in the impale. But there's no jungler, so there's really no risk of getting outsmited this one. And I expect Utility Monster to pick up his first Baron of the game, provided that this isn't going to be taken away by Kog'Maw. And now Jeff God, he's just eat over the wall. He's going to die instantly.
He said, we got to make this game interesting somehow. He's going to be giving over a shutdown to the... Or who did that go to? That didn't go to Kog'Maw. Did that go to Veigar again? Or did that go to...
went to Veigar.
It went to Veigar. Ooh, that's actually not too bad, though. But a shutdown is going to be going down. Jeff God Gamer giving up one of their Barons and a shutdown. Very interesting from him, but it is going to be YUBI coming out with the Baron. They're going to reset off of that. And honestly, let's see what they can do with this Baron. Still 4 members. Ezreal coming up in 10 seconds. It's not quite over yet. No Baron throws, despite losing Jeff God Gamer right there. Nier is actually being very aggressive with Freelancer right now. Freelancer isn't really having it, though. That Q did so much damage to Nier. He does have the Baron-powered minions, too. So Nier is a little bit far, but does have the backup behind him in case something does break out. Brian Sang caught out here. Is very tanky, though. Is going to be able to walk out of this one unscathed. Good damage from Veigar, though. Doesn't have much MR, and the Primordial Burst is going to be enough to take him down. Civil Lock flashing behind him with the ultimate is going to be enough to start off a fight, and Lights is actually going to be taken very low. Is going to take out the Skarner, but going down to the Ignite from Civlock. Civlock off to the side, taking down Dax, but is going to be Wukong into the fray off to the right, and it's going to be Kog'Maw going down. The Acathian Surprise is not enough to take down Wukong, and he's going to get a double kill off of that. Jeff God Gamer is also back into the fray, and they're going to be pushing up with 2 Barons still up, and they're going to be taking down this inhibitor tower with the minions they have left. I think they can do it, and that's going to be, I think, an inhib for Team YUBI.
Yeah, that's a big fight from the side of Team UB, really punishing the over-aggression that has come out from Team BBZ as they try to find a pick onto probably the tankiest member. And even with the kills that have gone over, there hasn't really been enough. All that kill gold is really congested onto this Veigar, and he hasn't been able to find that multi-man that multi-man cage that puts out a lot of damage to prevent the rest of the fight. So that is they're really struggling to find any avenue back into this game, and Yubi has been strangling them in basically all avenues since this early game ended about 5 to 10 minutes ago.
I would have to say so. It is a 10K gold lead for Team YUBI. Blue Bayou Zoo is in a world of trouble here. However, their Veigar, in spite of last game, we're seeing a complete flip here, where in terms of it being from incredibly even last game to YUBI taking this one by storm. But alternatively, similar to last game, we have a mid laner on the losing side who is just extremely fed, and honestly, if played right, can turn this game around with how Veigar can play. Songo gonna get caught out here. He's gonna be going down to half, gonna pop the Wild Growth. Second Cyclone is gonna knock him up, and a Zenith Blade from the Leona is gonna be enough to bring him very low, but he's still alive. But the stun from Lissandra is gonna be enough to take him down. And more coming out. It's going to be Gnar going down second, but a fight's going down on the bottom side. It's going to be Veigar pumping out damage like no tomorrow. Kathian Surprise coming around. Veigar is still around. He's very low. Going to have to pop the Zanya's Light's going to take one last stand onto the Jeff God Gamer, but Jeff God Gamer is going to carry it out. And it's going to be a 3-for-5 trade. And they're going to look to push this one out. 25 minutes. Can they end this one? Breaking down for me, Found.
Absolutely. You see that how much damage just Leona put up. Leona just solo kill Kog'Maw on the back line. We're gonna ignore that just happened. But Sungo's gonna be walking up. He's gonna look for this ward. We just face checks the Wukong. Polymorph's now unavailable because Whimsy has come out. So that's the double knockup lands only onto the Lulu though. So this is not as bad as it could be. Big ultimate from the side of the Gnar. And look at Red. He's getting the damage out. He's kiting it out. The cleanse comes out really late though. And then look at this. He just stands and fights against the Leona, and Leona picks it up. That's really big because if Kog'Maw's still alive, he could have easily drain tanked the rest of this fight. Lights flashed in to find Jeff God. He was not able to. And with all that damage that came out after that, there's just not enough. And that is an ace that has come through. And honestly, that could just be the game. You have 10 seconds onto this Lulu, so she is going to be the first one that is going to be available. And I don't know if they can take this because Kog'Maw is also going to be up in 15.
I don't think they can, but depending on how fast they will, they don't have the Baron empowered minions. Songo doesn't have any utility whatsoever to stop this aside from the polymorph. Banana coming out, going to go very wide, even going to miss the minions. They're just going to take a Nexus Tower, and they're going to back up, and it looks like they're going to go for Infernal Soul, which is actually very interesting. If they get this Infernal Soul, it's as good as over.
It's not the end of the world given the compositions that they have. Wait a minute, is that Lissandra has Horizon Focus? Can she even proc that?
I believe her E procs it, which is interesting. I don't have confirm over it, but it is over 700 range.
Yeah, but your E is not like you don't throw your E to hit the. It does anyway. So
It's an interesting pickup.
Yeah, the Infernal Soul having coming is going to be big, but Ezreal's probably the best user of it, and they can still win fights if they manage to really heads up this composition, not let Lulu die and have to burn all of her healing and shielding from the engage from Wukong. And this is another game where we see Shurelya's come out instead of the Moonstone. Moonstone has been buffed consistently, and you're not really going to be able to run away with the Shurelya's speed into Wukong. If you get knocked up the first time, you're usually going to get hit by the second one. So, but there's a lot of gold onto both teams, and this is still very concerning. If you're Team YUBI, you have to play safe on this siege because a bad Veigar stun can end you with how strong Lights is at the moment.
Definitely. No Baron on either side. Coming up in just under a minute. It's actually going to look to be an insane fight coming out here. This could definitely turn the tides if you're Blue Bayou Zoo. It's not quite over. And I would have to say that I would have to agree. Yubi has to play this one very carefully and not get caught out. Brian saying off to the side though, looking to get some form of a flank onto them. Not really finding any angles. Jeff God Gamer almost getting caught out by the event horizon, but is going to be able to e out of that quite quickly. No, nothing quite sparking yet. Good poke from the Infernal Soul onto Lights, bringing them down to a quarter in just one ability. And the base is being pushed on, but is being cleared up very efficiently from Lights. Good wave clear. Lots of magic damage, able to stop the siege. Event Horizon stopping the siege even more, and more W's on top of which it's actually going to call off the siege after 2 waves of failure. They're going to fall back to this Baron and see if they can pick up themselves a nice fight. It's actually going to be quite, I don't know. There's not really an angle here. The Gnar into the wall. Wukong's caught out, but a nice solar flare from Leona is actually going to turn this. Jeff God Gamer and Lysandra are going to be able to take them down, and that looks like it's going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. They're just going to run this one down. Not even close, ladies and gentlemen. Very well played. Let's break this one down. Good Gnar into the wall to start off the
It looks
fight.
like they were concerned that the Baron was going to come through. The Baron hasn't been started yet, so you would have more time. They all walk in together. This is just a massive Lysandra R. This is probably Lysandra's just like wet dream to get all that damage down into a small corridor, and there, even with the flashes available, there's no surviving all that bonus magic damage that comes through, and with your teammates killing you the second time with the Lysandra passive. So beautiful fight for the side of Yubi. Even though the inhibitor is going to ruin their days for a little bit, they're still going to be picking up game 2. And they played this game significantly better than the first one, and that is going to wrap up this series, putting it at a 1-1 setting. And I'm really excited for this game 3. It's going to be spicy. It's going to decide who's going to go further into this tournament, and both teams have now taken a win.
Absolutely. It's not going to end the series. I do want to correct that. However, we are going to game 3.
They got me.
We are going to game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very exciting one. We get a full series out of this one. Blue Bayou Zoo and Yubi really came to play on this one. Yubi turning it around saying, you're not 2-0ing us that easily, proving why they are the first seed of the regular season. So much damage coming out from Lysandra and Ezreal, but Lysandra going to be taking that one. Despite all of that, Kog'Maw is actually going to be leading the damage starts in this one. Despite how much he didn't stay alive, I'm actually very surprised, but honestly pleasantly surprised to see that.
Yeah, that just proves basically that if a little bit of execution had gone the other way, Red could have could have 1v9 the game. He could have done a little bit more. He could have gotten more damage out to maybe limit the amount of damage that this Ezreal was putting out. But the outdoing Ezreal's Kog'Maw is really good. And honestly, I'm sure no one wants to hear us talk any longer, and they want to just get into the break so we can get into this last game as fast as possible and see what these teams have in store for a final wrap-up game.
I'm definitely very excited to see that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for game number 3 and the final game of the series. Will Blue Bayou Zoo pick it up and take it out? Or will Yuumi keep up the pressure and actually take the reverse sweep from Blue Bayou Zoo? Stay tuned because we're going to be seeing if that's the case in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.